Welcome to Ear, the series where we explore the importance of hearing and its impacts on overall health. Today, we're excited to be speaking with Kristofer Sanz, someone who has dealt with hearing loss and will share his insights on how crucial hearing is for our body and daily functions. Let's dive in. My first question for you is, can you introduce yourself with your name and your job and share a little bit about your experience with hearing loss?
Hello, my name is Kristofer Sanz, and I am the Instrumental Music Director at Winston Churchill High School, as well as the Artistic Director and Principal Conductor of Maryland Classic Youth Orchestras at Strathmore. So recently, I've been dealing with a bout of hearing loss in my left ear. It first started out as just a little noticing, stuff wasn't as clear in my left ear, to one day waking up and it was completely gone. As a musician and as a conductor, it really affected my everyday life. At first in rehearsals, stuff would start to sound a little cloudy, or I'd have trouble hearing specific articulations or little nuances in the first violin section, to the point then where I went completely deaf in my left ear. And it really affected my job. It affected my mood, my attitude, because having always used my ears as my career, stuff really started to get cloudy, and I had a hard time hearing and giving feedback to my students and musicians. So it really did affect not just my hearing, but my personality, my mood, and my day-to-day experience.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience with hearing loss. Sounds very scary, especially being a music teacher where hearing is so important. So my next question would be, what are some tools or strategies that you used to help with communication and with hearing your everyday orchestras?
In order to help with my hearing loss, I did depend a lot on what I saw. So since string playing is a very physical thing, and you can see the bow on the string and how much bow they're actually using, I came to use my eyes a lot, and just my technique and experience over the years of what sound looks like to really help me get through some of those moments and to continue making sure that I could teach and conduct the instrumental ensembles.
Thank you so much for sharing this helpful tool. Sight is definitely a great method to help with those people struggling with hearing loss. So another question would be, how would you explain the importance of hearing to someone who hasn't experienced hearing loss, especially being a music teacher where hearing is so important?
Right, so the importance of hearing, I guess it's one of those things that you really don't take for granted unless you lose your hearing. I guess just like breathing and seeing is something that we do all the time, and it's just natural, and it's just there. And once that begins disappearing, it really does make you appreciate the fact that you do have this gift of hearing. Like I mentioned before, it's something that became detrimental to me, and I had to really learn to cope with it, because it would affect my mood, which would then affect my work, which would then affect my musicians and my students. So it's just really important to not take for granted the gifts that we have. And when they do start to go, if it's something such as hearing, that you find ways to not let it affect your mood and affect your everyday life, and just, really learn to appreciate the small things in life.
Thank you so much for sharing that. It's definitely very inspiring to hear about what you had to go through, and it shows just how important hearing is for our everyday lives, and that we should never take it for granted. So my last question for you today would be, what is some final advice that you would give to someone who is starting to notice some signs of hearing loss in their life?
If you feel like you're starting to lose your hearing, or stuff sounds a little bit cloudy, or maybe something feels off, not just with your hearing, but also with any part of your health, get checked out. Get help. I know sometimes we're afraid to get help or to go to a doctor because we're afraid of either the experience or what they might find. But with my case, I found that as soon as I was brave enough to go, that it really helped, and they were able to find some solutions to the issues that I was having, and it actually wasn't scary at all. And in one case, I almost got immediate relief and a good chunk of my hearing back, just because I found time in my busy day to go out and get checked out. So if you are starting to notice signs, get help, get checked out. There's nothing wrong with it. You might be surprised how quickly they can help you out.
That is definitely some great advice, and I know that some people may be too scared to reach out or think that it's not that important, but our hearing really is very important, and it is important to reach out. So thank you so much for allowing me to interview today. Bye.